Welcome to On Topic, a series of conversations with experts on issues of importance to Alaska. I'm Jim Johnson, president of the University of Alaska, and this series of conversations with distinguished scholars and practitioners has been created in collaboration with the University of Alaska and the University of Alaska Press. We hear a lot about climate change and the massive swings in our weather patterns these days. So I'm happy to be talking to one of the foremost experts in the world on the subject to help us understand this and much more. John Walsh is the chief scientist at the International Arctic Research Center at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and he's focused his long and distinguished academic career on Arctic climate weather variability. What's the difference between climate and weather?
Well, the time frame is the main difference.
Okay.
But there are several interesting analogies. Climate is the long-term integrator of weather. Okay. Weather over a long time period does constitute your climate. Mm-hmm. But one of the nice analogies I've heard is that climate is like your wardrobe. Weather is like what you're wearing today.
Okay.
So we do have this difference in the time horizon, but when you piece the weather together over a long period of time, you get your climate. Mm-hmm. And it's not just your averages, it's the ranges as well.
Mm-hmm. Why Alaska? You had a very distinguished career at another university. Why did you choose to come here?
Well, I've researched Arctic weather and climate for 30 some years. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot different when you're close to ground zero, which we are in the Arctic. Mm-hmm. My previous work was down in Illinois, and you can always study a different region remotely.
Sure.
But it's not the same as being immersed in the environment. The connections to the Arctic research community are far stronger at a university like UAF than they are at a university in the lower 48. Mm-hmm. So the opportunities, both in terms of the immersion in the environment and the contacts, make UAF a very attractive place, one of the best choices in the world to do Arctic research.
Okay. Do you see any, I'm not trying to be overly optimistic or anything at all, but are there any upsides from your view?
I think there are, especially for a region like Alaska. One of the more obvious ones is the reduction in heating costs, just because we're going to have warmer winter temperatures. We've already seen that to some extent. So there's at least one fairly quantifiable impact of a positive nature.
Right.
Another one, which is somewhat more tenuous, but it's certainly an interesting one, is the change in the growing season. Over most of Alaska, the growing season is increased by a week or two over the last 50 to 80 years. The data show that, and the climate models suggest that we may experience even greater increases between now and, say, 2100. We could see growing seasons that are a month or two longer. That opens up some possibilities. We aren't going to turn into the Corn Belt here, but there certainly could be some opportunities for agriculture that go beyond what we have right now. Mm-hmm. Then a third potential benefit, which in some respects is a mixed one, is the increased marine access that will occur over the western and northern seas around Alaska. Resupply operations will certainly be more feasible or more reliable in the warm season than they have been in the past. That does mean more ship traffic, which introduces other risks.
Right.
It's sort of a mixed bag as far as community responses to that type of change goes, but there is a positive side, which is that the opportunity for marine transport will be greater than it has been.
What gives you hope looking forward? You've taken on a big elephant here, and looking forward, what keeps you going?
I think the realization or the demonstration that people who know the most about science are the most perceptive about what the problems are and what the optimum solutions are, what the most prudent solutions are. So the challenge is to increase the information base or the information level among the general public. I think that there's a long way to go. The public is misinformed on a number of just basic facts about the Arctic and climate change. That means that the gap between the floor and the ceiling is pretty high.
Right.
So we have a lot of potential for making a difference. And I think if we can improve the sort of just the knowledge base of enough of the public, there will be a bottoms-up movement that we're already seeing to some extent in this country. I think that change is going to happen in this country eventually, but it's not going to be top-down. It's going to build up from the communities, the cities, and even the state level before it gets to the federal level. So I think if we start with our home base here in Alaska and use that as a sort of a springboard, I think we can start chipping away at what needs to be done in creating a more informed society that can make more rational and more prudent decisions that will certainly benefit future generations.
Well, John, thank you. It's really an honor to be able to work with you and to have this conversation this morning. It's on a critically important topic for Alaska, for all of the people who live here, for our students, our university, but particularly for the world. And I admire your courage in taking on a critical issue like this and bringing to this issue your disciplined thought and scientific approach. It's really important contribution to how we make decisions about this critical issue. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And we appreciate the opportunity to work in this setting too. So there's a mutual expression of gratitude here.
Okay, very good, John. Thank you.